Good morning, family. It's your boy JoBar, Eliezer, Qandu, aka WiseDuality. The spark that sets the world on fire. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the Sirach book series. It's chapter 21 through 30. We're going to go to today. 21 to 30. So let's get started. I'm going to try not to do as much commentary or input, adding to it from my last one. A couple things that I was quick to speak on without fully letting it marinate and receiving guidance from listening. Just speaking a little too early, even though I think, you know what I'm saying, like I would be saying about you can hear when man's input is in it. That's pretty much, you know what I'm saying, that but I'm just gonna read it. Y'all get y'all interpretations. If people want to discuss it and with me, fine. Comment. When I'm on live, join in. Send a request to join so we can talk, have a discussion, have a debate. Let me know your thoughts. Iron sharpens iron. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm not saying I have it all together. I'm not saying I have the whole picture. I'm not saying I'm the finished product. Far from it. So let's get naked with Yahweh. Get together, learn together, grow together, become one spirit, one mind, one voice of praise and worship and thanks. In agreement, and that is how we change things. That is how we change what the outside world looks like. Coming together in agreement, one mind, one voice, one worship, and one spirit. Because everything is one. Everything starts with one. Sirach, Good News Translation, chapter 21. Sin. My child, you have sinned. Don't do it again and pray for forgiveness for what you have already done. I actually increased the font size so I can actually see it better now. Two reasons. A lot of it is the font size, and besides just waking up and jumping right into it. Probably having a little puff, having that affected a little bit. Having my own thoughts, trying to read it, so I can read. I can read. College level reading and understanding. Yeah, that's not an issue. Like I said, it's just me jumbling things up. I'm that type of person where 1,000 thoughts are just bang me at one time, and I'm thinking of them. Even though I'm trying to do something, focus. It's like you gotta remain focused. Especially if I read something, then I have a thought about it, and I'm contemplating, and I'm trying to stay focused. But at the same time, I'm trying to receive what is being revealed to me, what's enlightening me, what's sparking curiosity in me, what's piquing my curiosity, or ringing a bell in me to pay attention to. So, yeah, here we go. Thank y'all for bearing with me, and I hope it's edifying for you. I hope that you take the time to go out there and read it for yourself. The entire 14 books that are available to you, especially if you have read the Bible front to back and you are curious about those 14 books, There are way more books than just those 14 books in this in the Apocrypha. I mean, there's books on the testimony from Mary Magdalene, from Joseph, Jesus's earth father, uh, different ones. Israel, Jacob's testimony. I mean, I'm not his testimony, but his his blessings to his sons as he was dying on his deathbed. His just so many books that are out there. The book of Timothy, the book of Barnabas. You know, there's a lot of information, knowledge, and wisdom that the Catholics have control over, and I'm sure they tamper with it, but at the same time, they are the ones that they have they are the gatekeepers to a lot of this information that they hold and they keep from everybody. Because of Rome invading those African countries, stealing the knowledge, acquiring the knowledge, keeping it to themselves. You know, the greed of men. So, Sirach 21, Good News Translation. Sin, my child, have you sinned? Don't do it again, and pray for forgiveness for what you have already done. Avoid sin as if it were a snake. If you get too near, it will sink its teeth into your soul like a lion and destroy you. Every lawless act leaves an incurable wound, like one left by a double-edged sword. If a person is insolent and arrogant, he may lose everything he has. When poor people pray, God hears them and quickly answers their prayers. If you refuse to accept correction, you are committing a sin, and if you fear the Lord, you will make a sincere change in your ways. Someone may be famous as a good speaker, but when he is wrong, a sensible person will detect it. Anyone who borrows money to build a house is just collecting stones for his own tomb. A group of people who have no respect for the law is like a pile of kindling. They will meet a fiery end. The road that sinners walk is smooth and paved, but it leads to the world of the dead. The road that sinners walk is smooth and paved, but it leads to the world of the dead. I said, don't get jealous of the wicked. Their time is coming. Wisdom and foolishness. Whoever wants to learn the law must learn what the law means. If you fear the Lord in every sense of the term, you will have wisdom. You have to be intelligent to learn anything, but there is such a thing as just pretending to be intelligent, which only makes people bitter. A wise person's knowledge is like a river that runs dry, like a ever-flowing stream of good advice. A fool, on the other hand, has a mind like a jar with a hole in it. Anything he learns is soon lost. When an educated person hears something that shows insight, it stimulates his mind and leads him on to other ideas. That's what I'll be talking about. But when someone who is satisfied with ignorance hears it, he won't like it and will forget it as soon as he can. Listening to a foolish person talk is like traveling with a heavy load on your back. But it is a pleasure to hear what intelligent people have to say. The assembly will be eager to hear from an intelligent person and will take his opinion seriously. To an ignorant person, wisdom is as useless as a house going to ruin. He has never even thought about the things he is so sure of. To a person without any sense, an education is like handcuffs, but to a sensible person, it is like gold bracelets. An intelligent person will smile quietly while a fool roars with laughter. A stupid person will peep into someone's house through the door and then march right in. But someone with experience and good manners will have enough respect to wait outside. Eavesdropping at doors is bad manners, and anyone with a sense of decency would be ashamed to do it. Presumptuous people talk about things that are none of their business, but the wise will consider the consequences of what they say. Fools say whatever comes to mind. Wise people think before they speak. When a wicked person curses his enemy, he is cursing himself. A gossip ruins his own character, and everyone in the neighborhood hates him. Footnotes: Sirach 21, verse 8. His own tomb. Some manuscripts have the winter. Verse 25, probable text. Presumptuous, business. Greek, the lips of strangers speak of these things. Verse 27, his enemy or Satan. A wicked person curses his enemy. When a wicked person curses his enemy, he is cursing himself. When a wicked person curses an enemy or Satan, he curses himself. Wow. Yeah, well, Satan was an angel. Sirach 22. And not even Moses spoke bad about him. Laziness and foolishness. Chapter 22, Sirach, Good News Translation. Lazy people are no better than dung. They are repulsive, and no one wants to get near them. It is a disgrace to a father to have an undisciplined child, especially if it is a daughter. A sensible daughter will get a husband, but a shameless daughter brings her father grief. A girl with no sense of propriety will disgrace both her husband and her father. Neither will have any respect for her. Lecturing your children can sometimes be as out of place as singing to people in mourning, but a whipping is a wise choice of discipline at any time. Trying to teach a fool is like gluing a broken pot back together, like waking someone out of a deep sleep. Explaining something to a fool is like explaining it to a sleepy person. When you have finished, he'll say, "What was that again?" We mourn for the dead because they have no access to light. We mourn for the dead because they have no access to light. We ought to mourn for fools because they have no access to intelligence. In fact, we should go into deeper mourning for fools because the life they lead is worse than death. The dead are at least at rest. For 7 days we mourn the dead, but a foolish or ungodly person causes a lifetime of grief. An ungodly person causes a lifetime of grief. Don't visit stupid people or spend a lot of time talking with them. Avoid them. Then they can't contaminate you, and you can live in peace without being troubled or worn down by their foolishness. Some people are a heavier burden to bear than lead, and the only word that fits them is fools. It is easier to carry a load of sand, salt, and iron than to put up with a stupid person. A wooden beam can be put into a building so firmly that an earthquake cannot shake it loose. A person can be trained to use reason and good sense so well that he keeps his head when a crisis comes. A mind that thinks things through intelligently is like a firm wall, finely decorated. Small stones on top of a wall will not stay put when the wind blows, and a person whose stupid ideas have made him timid will not be able to stand up to frightening situations. Small stones on top of a wall will not stay put when the wind blows, and a person whose stupid ideas have made him timid will not be able to stand up to frightening situations. God is all about courage and boldness. Friendship, verse 19. If you stick something in your eye, tears will flow. And if you hurt a person deeply, you will discover his true feelings. If you throw rocks at a bird, you will scare them off. And if you insult a friend, you will break up the friendship. Even if you have a violent argument with a friend and speak sharply, all is not lost. You can still make up with him. But any friend will leave you if you insult him, if you are arrogant, if you reveal his secrets, or if you turn on him unexpectedly. Gain the confidence of your neighbor if he is poor. Then you can share his happiness if he becomes successful. Stand by him when he is in trouble if you want to share with him when better times come his way. Fumes and smoke appear before the flames do. Insults come before violence. I will never be afraid to protect a friend. I will never be afraid to protect a friend, and I will never turn a friend away if he needs me. If I suffer because of him, everyone who learns of it will be on guard against him. A prayer for help against sin, verse 27. I wish that a guard could be placed at my mouth, that my lips could be wisely sealed. It would keep me from making mistakes and prevent me from destroying myself with my own tongue. Let's say that again. A prayer for help against sin. I wish that a guard could be placed at my mouth, that my lips could be wisely sealed. It would help keep me from making mistakes and prevent me from destroying myself with my own tongue. It's deep. That's a good one. I used to pray something like that, like, Lord, put a guard over my mouth, put a guard over my mouth. Sirach 22:8. Footnotes. Some manuscripts add verses 9 through 10. Children who are brought up well do not show the humble origin of their parents. Children who are not brought up well, who are arrogant and conceited, are a stain on the noblest family. Sirach, verse 18. Footnote. Small wall. Some manuscripts have a fence on top of a hill. That's the fence on top of the hill with small stones on it. If the wind blows, they will not stand. They'll fall off. Chapter 23, Sirach. O Lord, my Father and Master of my life, do not leave me at the mercy of my own words. Don't let them cause my downfall. Excuse me. I wish I could be whipped for my thoughts, so that wisdom could discipline my mind. I would not want to be spared when I was wrong. I would not want to be spared when I am wrong. I would not want a single sin to be overlooked. Then I would not keep on sinning. making one mistake after another. I could not fall on my enemies and be humiliated by them. I could not fall to my enemies and be humiliated by them. I could not fall to my enemies and be humiliated by them. O Lord, my Father, God of my life, keep me from being ignorant. Keep me from being arrogant. I wanted to say ignorant, so. O Lord, my Father, God of my life, keep me from being arrogant. Protect me from evil desires. Keep me from being overcome by greed or lust. Do not leave me at the mercy of these shameless passions. Taking oaths, verse 7. My children, listen to what I have to say about proper speech. Do as I teach you, and you will never get trapped. Sinners are caught by their own arrogant, insulting words. Sinners are caught by their own arrogant, insulting words. Don't fall into the habit of taking oaths, and don't use God's holy name too freely. A slave who is constantly beaten will never be free of bruises. Someone who is always taking an oath by the holy name will never be free of sin. A slave who is constantly beaten will never be free of bruises. Someone who is always taking an oath by the holy name will never be free of sin. Anyone who takes oaths all the time is sinful to the core. Anyone who takes oaths all the time is sinful to the core, and punishment is never far away from his household. If he fails to fulfill his oath, he is guilty. If he ignores his oath, he is twice as guilty. If his oath was insincere in the first place, he cannot be pardoned and will have a house full of trouble. Filthy talk. Verse 12. There is only one way of speaking that is like death itself. May no Israelite ever be guilty of it. Devout people do not wallow in such sin, and they will keep away from such behavior. Don't fall into the habit of coarse, profane talk. It is sinful. You might forget yourself while in the company of important people and make a fool of yourself with some foul word that comes to you naturally. Think how your parents would feel. You would curse the day you were born and wish you were dead. If you fall into the habit of using offensive language, you will never break yourself of it as long as you live. Yeah. I'm still fighting with that, actually. Yes, I do. When I'm unconsciously passionate about something, especially when I'm playing like the video game I'm playing 2K, it's just like I'm unconsciously just saying things. It makes me more conscious. I have to be actively conscious of what I'm saying out of my mouth. And when you are self-aware and you hear yourself and you see yourself, then that's when correction comes, and that's what matters. You know what I'm saying? That's what matters. Your self-correction, your self-governing awareness of yourself and what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're thinking, and correcting it. And this walk, this journey, this path is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Some things, some changes, and some behaviors and patterns can be corrected swiftly, instantly, and some takes a lifetime. So be easy with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Be easy on yourself. Sexual sins. Verse 16. There are any number of ways to sin and bring down the Lord's anger, but sexual passion is a hot blazing fire that cannot be put out at will. It can only burn itself out. A man who lives for nothing but sexual enjoyment will keep on until that fire destroys him. A man who lives for nothing but sexual enjoyment will keep on until that fire destroys him. To such a man, all women are desirable, and he can never get enough as long as he lives. The man who is unfaithful to his wife thinks to himself, no one will ever know. It's dark in here, and no one sees me. I have nothing to worry about. As for the Most High, he won't even notice. This man is only afraid of other people. He doesn't realize that the eyes of the Lord are 1,000 times brighter than the sun, that he sees everything we do, even when we try to hide it. He knew everything before he created the world, as well as after. That sinful man will be caught when he least expects it and punished publicly. Can't dispute it. The same is true of women. The same is true of a woman who is unfaithful to her husband and presents him with a child by another man. In the first place, she has broken the law of the Most High. In the second place, she has wronged her husband. And in the third place, she has made a whore of herself by committing adultery and bearing the child of a man not her husband. The children will suffer for her sin. They will not be able to find a place in society or establish families. She herself will be brought before the assembly and permanently disgraced. There will be a curse on her memory. After she is gone, everyone will realize that nothing is better than fearing the Lord. Nothing is sweeter than keeping his commands. No footnotes. Can you imagine that? Chapter 24. In Praise of Wisdom. Sirach 24. Listen to wisdom. She proudly sings her own praises among the Israelites, her own people in the assembly of the Most High in the presence of his power. I am the word spoken by the Most High. I am the word spoken by the Most High. I covered the earth like a mist. I made my home in the highest heaven. My throne is a pillar of cloud. Alone I walk around the circle of the sky and walk through the ocean beneath the earth. I ruled over all the earth and the ocean waves, over every nation, over every people. I looked everywhere for a place to settle. Some part of the world to make my home. I looked everywhere for a place to settle, some part of the world to make my home. Then my Creator, who created the universe, told me where I was to live. Make your home in Israel, he said. The descendants of Jacob will be your people. He created me in eternity before time began, and I will exist for all eternity to come. I served in the sacred tent and then made my home on Mount Zion. He settled me in the beloved city and gave me authority over Jerusalem. I put down roots among an honored people whom the Lord had chosen as his own. I grew tall, like the cedars in Lebanon, like the cypresses on Mount Hermon. like the palm trees of Engedi, like the roses of Jericho, like beautiful olive trees in the fields, like plane trees growing by the water. My breath was the spicy smell of cinnamon, of sweet perfume and finest myrrh, of stacte, onycha, and galbanum, the fragrant incense in the sacred tent. Like an oak, I spread out my branches, magnificent and graceful. Like a grapevine, I put out lovely shoots. My blossoms gave way to rich and glorious fruit. Come to me, all you that want me, and eat your fill of my fruit. You will remember me as sweeter than honey, better than honey from the comb. Eat me, and you will hunger for more. Drink me, and you will thirst for more. Obey me, and you will never have cause for embarrassment. Do as I say, and you will be safe from sin. Wisdom, that's what he's talking about, wisdom. Wisdom and the law. Verse 23. Wisdom is the law which Moses commanded us to keep, the covenant of God Most High, the inheritance of the synagogues of Israel. The law overflows with wisdom like the Pishon River, like the Tigris at fruit picking time, or Tigris. The law brims over with understanding like the Euphrates, like the Jordan at harvest time. It sparkles with teachings like the Nile, like the Jihan at grape picking time. The first human being ever created never knew wisdom completely, and the last person on earth will be no more successful. The possibilities of wisdom are vaster than the ocean. Her resources are more profound than the deepest water beneath the earth. As for me, I thought of myself as an irrigation canal, bringing water from a river into a garden. I only intended to water my orchid and flower beds, but the canal soon became a river, and the river became a sea. And so I present you with my learning. I hold it high so that its light can be seen everywhere, like that of the rising sun. Like an inspiring prophet, I pour out my teachings so that future generations can benefit from them. I pour out my teachings so that future generations can benefit from them. Please realize that I have not done all this hard work for myself alone, but to help anyone who wants to be wise. Facts. I don't do this for myself. I wouldn't be on here reading, exposing weaknesses and flaws within myself. It's not for me. Well, for the versions of me that are to come, and for those who choose to tune in here and listen and grow from it. That's why I do it. That's why I do it. So people can wake up, so people can seek the truth for themselves, can understand how these words are life, and if you truly read through the scriptures, how you can see how your life unfolded in these words and those words, and you can look at other people and see their lives in those words and why things are the way they are because of our choices. making the wrong ones. And the right one is choosing God, choosing Yahweh, choosing Jehovah, Yahweh, El Shaddai, Yeshua. Footnote, Sirach 24:2, power or angels. Verse 6, ruled over, some manuscripts have gained possession of. Verse 14, of Enjadi, some manuscripts have on the seashore. Verse 17, I got the hiccups. Some manuscripts add verse 18. I am the mother of beautiful love, of fair knowledge, and holy hope. Since I am eternal, I am given to all my children who are named by him. Sirach 23, some manuscripts add verse 24. Always be strong in the Lord, stay with him, so that he may make you strong. There is no God but the Lord Almighty, and no Savior except him. Amen. Verse 27, one ancient translation, it sparkles. One ancient translation, it sparkles. Now, Greek, it makes teaching shine like light. Wisdom. Chapter 25, people who deserve praise. There are three things in which I take special delight. Things that are beautiful to the Lord and people alike. Brothers who get along with each other. Neighbors who are friends, and a married couple who are happy together. There are three kinds of people I cannot stand, whose behavior I find highly offensive. Poor people who are arrogant, rich people who lie, and foolish old men who commit adultery. Unless you learn what you can while you are young, you will never be wise when you reach an old age. Sound judgment, good advice, and gray hair go good together beautifully. Wisdom, understanding, and sound counsel are appropriate to the aged and the respected. Wisdom, understanding, and sound counsel are appropriate to the aged and the respected. Elderly people wear the crown of long experience, and they can boast of nothing finer than their fear of the Lord. I will tell you about 10 kinds of people that I feel fortunate to know, especially fortunate in the case of the 10th. Someone who takes pride in his children, someone who lives to see his enemies fall, a man fortunate enough to have an understanding wife, a married couple who are well matched, a person who never speaks sinfully, a person who doesn't have to work for someone less competent than himself, someone fortunate enough to have a real friend, a person that people are happy to listen to, and the really great one, someone who is wise. But the greatest one of all is the person who fears the Lord. Such a person has no equal, because the fear of the Lord is the most important thing in the world. Yesterday I had put out a word of the day and said, fear of the Lord is a lesson in itself. And that's true wisdom, right? And a lady made a comment saying, I never understood, why people say fear the Lord, you should love him and respect him and these things. And I used to say the same thing. But through my research and reading and discovery and spending time with him, fear is, like scripture says, fear is the beginning. So without that fear, will you love them? Will you respect them? Will you honor them without fear? And the reference that I used was parents and children, especially teenagers, right? If you never instill fear in your child and they're teenagers, they may love you, but do they respect you? Do they honor you? Do they obey you? And if they don't, why do you think that they love you? People think love is automatic just because you have a child. Like your child is going to love you or you're going to love your child. Earlier in those chapters yesterday, they spoke about children and who they could be and how are parents supposed to respond to ungodly children. So, can you love them without fear? If you have no fear of the consequences of a bad action or the wrong action or something that's not right, if you have no fear, do you think love will stop you from making the wrong choice? So it is with fear that you contemplate, that you have boundaries, that you learn and begin to love. That is the beginning. Then you learn to love. Then you learn to respect. I have 3 sons, and I rarely ever had to correct my sons. I did it very early. Maybe around 2 or less than 2, a little before 2. Around 2 years old. I gave him one good spanking. And never, ever did I have to spank him again. All I ever had to do is say, "Do you want me to get the belt?" No. That's it. My children love me. My children respect me. Why? Because of the fear that I installed. Because of my love. They go hand in hand. They do. And when you reach a certain level of that love, fear is no longer the driving force behind it. That's why it says there's no fear in love. But you have to get there. And how do you get there? And that's through fear of a God that can destroy you. Please stop thinking that God is only love and God is these niceties all the time. Stop it. Please stop it. If that is all you see God as, you have no understanding of who God is. That's why you refuse to fear Him. I used to have a problem with it, but I understand it now. You better fear Him. You better. Because everything in His Word tell you how terrible He is. How destructive He is. How wrathful He is. How jealous He is. How He would destroy you. And that's showing His love. Wow. Boom, right? Boom. That's why His Word always talk about disciplining your children, disciplining your children, disciplining your children, discipline them young, Because when they get old, you ain't gonna discipline them. Do they really love you? If you have a child that you spoil you and it's just rotten and just a mischievous, devilish child, and you let them become a teenager, an adult, do you think they really love you when they say they love you and they don't respect you? They can't say they love you. And did you really love them if you allowed them to become that? Advice about women. Verse 13. No wound is as serious as wounded love. No troubles are as serious as the troubles that women cause. No sufferings are worse than the sufferings caused by people who hate you. No revenge is worse than revenge taken by an enemy. No poison is deadlier than the poison of a snake, and no anger is deadlier than the anger of a woman. I would rather live in the same house with a lion or a dragon than with a bad wife. I would rather live in the same house with a lion or a dragon than with a bad wife. That's how deep it is. When a wife is in a bad mood, her expression changes until she looks like an angry bear. Her husband has to go and eat with the neighbors where he can't hold back his bitter sighs. Compared with the troubles caused by a woman, any other trouble looks small. May such women suffer the fate of sinners. A quiet man living with a nagging wife is like an old man climbing up a sandy hill. Never lose your head over a woman's beauty, and don't try to win a woman because she is wealthy. When a man is supported by his wife, there is sure to be anger, arrogance, and humiliation. When a man is supported by his wife, there is sure to be anger, arrogance, and humiliation. So, the things I've been talking about, the separation between the woman and the man, the disconnect, and all of this, it's all right here. The women making more money than the men, so there's no more respect. There's no compassion. There's no tolerance. Women with money. What did they say? When a man is supported by his wife, there is sure to be anger, arrogance, and humiliation. And that's all we see right now. Right? Women humiliating men because they got the bag. So the man is worthless. He's not. He's of no value unless he makes more than her. A bad wife will make her husband gloomy and depressed and break his heart. Show me a timid man who can never make up his mind, and I will show you a wife who doesn't make her husband happy. Sin began with a woman, and we must all die because of her. Don't let a bad wife have her way. Don't let a bad wife have her way any more than you would allow water to leak from your cistern. If she won't do as you tell her, divorce her. So there you have it. All you fellas, God doesn't decree it. It's not his original design, but he will allow it because he understands the pain, the separation. When you become one and when you split, how you lose yourself, you lose a part of the wholeness of yourself. Because they were a whole person, even though two people are coming together, two whole people are coming together. So there's this 50-50 thing. Throw that out the window. Because if they're only bringing 50% of themselves and you're only bringing 50% of yourselves, how do you even expect it to work? So you have to come 100%, both people, right? So When the 100% comes to another 100%, you make 200%. So when 100% of you leaves, you lose yourself. Because the 200% is really represented as 100%. So when 100% leaves, you lost yourself. Sirach 25:1, footnote. Some ancient translations there are alike. Greek, I was made beautiful in 3 ways, and I stood before the Lord and people in beauty. I was made beautiful in 3 ways. Sirach 25:1, that's verse 1. What did it say? Oh, okay. Verse 8, Hebrew, in one ancient translation, a married couple, well matched. Greek does not have these words. Sirach, verse 9, 25:9. Some ancient translations, real friend. Greek, good sense. Verse 11, some manuscripts add verse 12, fearing the Lord is the first step towards loving him. I said this. And faith is the first step towards loyalty to him. (25:15). Some ancient translations, woman, Greek enemy. 15. No poison is deadlier than the poison of a snake, and no anger is deadlier than the anger of a woman. Than the anger of an enemy. And if your woman is your enemy, ho, 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 ho. That's why it's very important to find a woman that is in agreement with you, is in an agreement in your direction and your guidance, and in agreement with your vision or your mandate for the family. Because if she's going to fight you, do you know what your family will look like? What your family life will look like? Like everything. The children will have problems. You're going to be stressed. The children are going to be stressed. She's going to be stressed. It's not a good environment for anyone. Choose wisely your spouse. And I know people hear it all the time. It's becoming a big message. And I'm sure I was one of the very first people that said it. I was saying it way before I heard it on social media. You know, your spouse is picking and choosing the spouse is the most important decision in your life besides choosing God, besides choosing Yah, besides choosing to know him, to have a personal relationship with him. Your spouse is the next greatest choice in your life. Impactful for your present and your future. Chapter 26. The husband of a good wife is a fortunate man. He will live twice as long because of her. A fine wife is a joy to her husband, and he can live out his years in peace. A good wife is among the precious blessings given to those who fear the Lord. Whether such men are rich or poor, they will be happy and always look cheerful. And you got a good woman. There are 4 things that scare me: vicious rumors spread around town, a gathering mob, false accusations. These are all worse than death. But a woman jealous of another woman causes heartache and grief. Her tongue lashes out at everything. A bad wife is like a yoke that doesn't fit. Trying to control her is like holding a scorpion. A drunken woman is an infuriating sight. She can't conceal her shameless behavior. You can tell an unfaithful wife by the bold and flirting look in her eyes. Yes, you can. If you look in her eyes, her wondering eyes, you have a woman, you take her in a room full of different people and just watch her. Watch her. That's the quickest way to know the type of woman that you have. Before you marry her, take her around your friends, your homies, or around a place where there are many men besides you, and see what she does. Watch her behaviors. Will she sit by you? Will she stay near you? Will she talk to you? Will she be a social butterfly, hugging and kissing on people that she don't even know? And I ain't talking about like tongue kissing and kissing on the lips, but just giving her energy out. Like she don't even know people. Why are you touching them? Why are you accepting these people into you? Why do you want to even touch them? I understand small talk, but are you the one initiating conversations to be heard? Is she initiating these conversations just to be heard? Is she asking questions like, who is that? If you got a woman that's supposed to be with you and you take her around other men and she asks you about another man, that's the wrong woman for you. Straight up. You're wasting your time and she will cheat on you. She already has. Why is she curious about someone else? Pay attention, fellas. Pay attention, ladies. Same thing with the men. A woman, you take your man in a room full of ladies. Watch what he does. Listen to what he says. Look at his eyes. And there's nothing wrong with admiring beauty around you. But it's a difference between having a look and then turning that look into a full-blown fantasy or the word that I'm looking for. Ah, man, creating a whole scenario, you know, of meeting the person, you know what I'm saying, being with them and all of these things. People, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. When you start to have these thoughts and making these stories up in your mind and how it could be and how you can make this happen and all of this and all of that. You know what I'm talking about. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. You can tell an unfaithful wife by the bold and flirting look in her eyes. If your daughter is determined to have her own way, keep a close watch on her. If you don't, she'll take advantage of any chance she gets. If she is too self-willed, be on guard, and don't be surprised if she disappoints you. She'll spread her legs anywhere for any man who wants her, just as a thirsty traveler will drink whatever water is available. A gracious wife is her husband's delight. Her abilities make him a stronger man. A wife who doesn't talk too much is a gift from the Lord. Such restraint is admirable beyond words. A modest wife has endless charm. It is a quality too precious to measure. The beauty of a good wife in her well-kept home is like the noonday sun shining in the lowered sky. Her beautiful face and attractive figure are as lovely as the light from the sacred lampstand in the temple. And like its gold shaft set on its silver base are her shapely legs and strong ankles. Sad observations. Verse 28. There are two things that make me sad, and a third that makes me angry. A soldier who has become poor, intelligent people who are not respected, and a righteous person who turns to evil. The Lord will punish such a person with death. A soldier who has become poor, and that's happening. That happens a lot in this country. That has happened a lot in this country, from all the way from the Civil War, World War I, World War II, all these other wars, the Gulf War, all these wars. Soldiers come back, they lose their minds. The government don't take care of them. They got the VA, but they ain't the best. They ain't the best doctors. Don't work for the VA. They do hack jobs. And if you are disabled and they get tired of paying you, they gonna take you out. They gonna allow you to disintegrate. They gonna allow your illnesses to overtake you, so they can stop paying you. I truly don't understand how people keep signing up for the United States Army when they have commercials and these different foundations advocating for disabled veterans and veteran war vets and all of these things. Like, people that come back and they don't have anything. But isn't the government supposed to take care of these people? Take care of these soldiers that risk their lives, their sanity, their morality, their souls and spirits. Although they blindly followed. Blindly killed, destroyed, oppressed. The Lord will reward each and every one of us for our choices and our behaviors, whether that be good or bad or evil. A merchant can hardly avoid doing wrong. Every salesman is guilty of sin. I've been saying that. How long have I been saying this about these corporations, man? And saying the things that I say about money and wealth. It's like you can't reach a certain level of wealth without doing evil. You can't. You just can't. And when you reach a certain level and you don't want to let that money go, and that's what turns you. That's the temptation right there. That's the problem. That's the what they call it, the knee slapper. You don't want to lose it. So whatever it takes to keep it, that's what you would do. That's what they're going to do. Footnotes. Sirach 26:13. Her abilities, man, or she knows how to keep him well fed. Verse 17. And attractive figure are, or as she grows older. 18. Strong ankles. Some manuscripts have firm breasts or determined heart. 18. Some manuscripts add verses 19 through 27. My child, stay healthy while you are young, and don't give your strength to strangers. Search the whole land for a fertile field, and plant it with your own seed, trusting your own good stock. Then your children will survive and grow up confident of their good family. A prostitute is like spit. A prostitute is like spit. A married woman who has affairs brings death to her lovers. A lawless man will get a godless wife, and he deserves, as he deserves. A lawless man will get a godless wife, as he deserves, but a man who honors the Lord will have a devout wife. A shameless wife enjoys making a disgrace of herself, but a modest wife will act modestly, even alone with her husband. A self-willed woman is a bitch. Wow. But a woman with a sense of decency honors the Lord. A wife who honors her husband will seem wise to everyone, but if she dishonors him by her overbearing attitude, everyone will know that she is ungodly. Fortunate is the husband of a good wife, because he will live twice as long. A loud-mouthed, talkative woman is like a trumpet sounding the signal for attack, and any man who has such a wife will spend his life at war. Whoa! Facts. All of it. They needed to have that in there. See, it stopped at verse 29, but this right here ain't in there. All of this ain't in there. This came from probably a Greek that was added. A lawless man will get a godless wife as he deserves. And I was that lawless man, and that's why I had a godless wife. Answers, clarity, it's all there. Answers to your questions, the understanding of what you've been through. You want clarity? Pick up your Bible. Pick up some scriptures. The Quran, the Bible, I don't know, some Buddhist teachings. Take what is useful, discard what is not. Ponder on it, eat it, chew it, swallow it, and you will have your own understanding, belief. You will come to know the truth. You can take these sayings and add a part of you to them and make it your own. To live by, words to live by, words, boundaries for yourself, boundaries to share to help other people not go through what you went through. So you can use your life experience with these words of truth these spiritual words and heal yourself and heal others from these beliefs and this belief that you created within yourself. These guidelines, teachings, keys. It may not be your key, but your experiences and your understanding of why and how, you know. The answers are there. The answers are within, and this helps you to dig the dirt and dig deeper within yourself, to look at yourself, to see the full picture, to see the truth in others, the truth in yourself, the truth of the situation. Why everything is not because of what they did. Some things is because that's what God wanted it to be, so that you could see clearly. As what Scripture says, and I love this one that came to me that I hold dear now. We go through what we go through. We experience what we experience, so that God can show us the difference of the best versus everything else. You can't know what's best or better until you experience it, until you experience worse, until you have something to compare to. Chapter 27. Many people have sinned while looking for a prophet. If you want to be rich, you have to keep blinders on your eyes. I told you. It is hard to remove a peg that is stuck between two stones of a house, and it is just as hard to remove dishonesty from buying and selling. Unless you are determined in your fear of the Lord, your house is going to come down on you. Speech reflects true feelings. Verse 4. Your talk shows your faults. It is like a sieve that separates out the rubbish. The way you think shows your character just as surely as a clean shows any flaw. Oh, a keel. Not a keel. Yeah. It's just as a clean shows any flaw in the pottery being fired. Keel. You can tell how well a tree has been cared for by the fruit it bears. You can tell how well a tree has been cared for by the fruit it bears. And you can tell a person's feelings by the way he expresses himself. Never praise anyone before you hear him talk. That is the real test. Honesty, verse 8. If you try to be honest, you can be, and it will improve your character as handsome clothing improves your appearance. Birds come to roost with those of their own kind. Birds come to roost with those of their own kind, and the habit of honesty comes to those who try to be honest. Sin awaits for those looking for a chance to sin. Sin waits for those who looking for a chance to sin, just as lion waits for prey. Foolish talk, verse 11. When devout people talk, what they say always makes sense, but foolish people are always contradicting themselves. When you find yourself with stupid people, look for some excuse to leave. But when you are with serious-minded people, stay as long as you can. The stories that foolish people tell are offensive, and they make jokes about the worst kinds of sin. When such people curse, it is enough to make your hair stand on end. And when they start arguing amongst themselves, all you can do is stop up your ears. It is painful to listen to them insult each other, and such bolstering can lead to violence. Betraying secrets, verse 16. If you repeat secrets that have been told to you, you are destroying the confidence of others having you. If you repeat secrets that have been told to you, you are destroying the confidence others having you. And you will never have a close friend. Respect your friends and keep faith with them. If you do betray a friend's confidence, you may as well forget you have a friend. You have killed that friendship just as surely as if you have taken a weapon and killed an enemy. Your friend is gone. You can no longer get them back. Then you can get a bird to come back to your hand once you let it go. Don't bother going after him. It's too late. He is gone, like a deer escaped from a trap. Wounds can be bandaged and insults can be forgiven. But if you betray a confidence, it is hopeless. Hypocrisy, verse 22. When someone starts winking at you, he has something bad in mind, and nothing can stop him from going through with it. When he's with you, his talk is so nice. He compliments you on every word you say. But behind your back, it's a different story. He will take what you have said and turn it against you. There is nothing in the world that I hate as much as a person like that, and the Lord hates him too. Throw a stone straight up in the air, and it will come down on your head. Strike a blow, and you yourself will be wounded. People who set traps fall into them themselves. People who hurt others will be hurt by their own actions and will have no idea why. People who hurt others will be hurt by their own actions and will have no idea why. Remember I said that some of the most pricely consequences that I paid was being spiteful, trying to hurt somebody else. Arrogant people insult others and make fun of them. But someone is waiting like a lion for a chance to take revenge on them. Arrogant people insult others and make fun of them. But someone is waiting like a lion for a chance to take revenge on them. Those who are happy to witness the downfall of devout people are going to fall into a trap and die a painful death. Resentment, anger, and a hot temper are terrible things, but sinners have both. And that was verse 30. Arrogant people insult others and make fun of them, but someone is waiting like a lion for a chance to take revenge on them. God uses evil to destroy evil. So remember that. That's why you got an evil person. There's someone even more evil that awaits them. That's what it's saying. That's what it's saying. You don't have to take. That's why God said you don't have to take revenge. I'll repay. I will repay, and He has a way of repaying it. If you read throughout the scriptures, He has said, when He wanted to punish Israel, He said, "I'm going to, for your evilness, for your wickedness, for your disobedience, I'm going to bring in somebody worse than you to discipline you. And when it's time for me to discipline them, I'm going to bring somebody in worse than them to discipline them or possibly destroy them." That's what He says. That's what the word says. That's these principles, these keys, and that no one can dispute. You can't dispute the things that I have come to see through scriptural teachings and principles, laws, and how they unfold, but effortlessly, is mind-blowing. Self-govern yourself. Pay attention. Be intentional to what you do. Because with these principles, these keys, the way life is, you reap what you sow. What you put out, you get back. What you plant, you harvest. And the Lord says, and you will eat it too. Sirach 27:28. Footnote. Insult others, them, or will be insulted and mocked. Arrogant people insult others and make fun of them, but they will be insulted and mocked. Chapter 28. The Lord is taking note of your sins, and if you take revenge on someone, the Lord will take vengeance on you. It's funny how I talk about something, then in the next chapter, it confirms exactly what I just said without even knowing what the next chapter is going to be talking about. But if you forgive someone who has wronged you, your sins will be forgiven when you pray. You cannot expect the Lord to pardon you while you are holding a grudge against someone else. Facts. You yourself are a sinner, and if you won't forgive another person, you have no right to pray that the Lord will forgive your sins. If you cannot get rid of your anger, you have no hope of forgiveness. You are only a human being. Think about it. Someday you will die and your body will decay. So give up hate and live by the Lord's commands, the commands and the covenant of the Most High. Instead of getting upset over your neighbor's faults, overlook them. Arguments. Verse 8. If you stay out of arguments, you will not sin so much, because a hot temper gets them started. It is sinful to break up a friendship by creating hostility among people who get along well together. The more fuel, the hotter the fire. The more stubbornness, the hotter the argument. And the stronger or richer people are, the angrier they can afford to become. An argument that blazes out suddenly can lead to violence. You can blow on a spark to make it glow, or you can spit on it to put it out. Either way, you do it with your mouth. Vicious talk. Verse 13. Gossips and liars deserve to be cursed, because they have been the ruin of many people who were minding their own business. Many have had their lives ruined and have been driven from their homes because of people who meddle in their business. Such unwanted interference has resulted in the destruction of strong cities and the homes of respected people. Meddlers have caused faithful wives to be divorced, robbed of everything they have worked for. Anyone who pays attention to slander can never find peace of mind. A whip can raise a welt, but a vicious tongue can break bones. More people have died as a result of loose talk than were ever killed by swords. Count yourselves lucky if you have been spared the experience of having irresponsible talk directed against you. If you have never had that iron yoke around your neck or those heavy chains on your legs, slander leads to a miserable death, but in fact, you'll be better off dead. Devout people, however, cannot overcome by slander. They cannot be burned by its flames. Its victims are those who have abandoned the Lord. Once the fire of slander has been lit among them, it cannot be put out. Slander will pounce on them like a lion and tear them to pieces like a leopard. Slander will pounce on them like a lion and tear them to pieces like a leopard. Don't you fence in your property? Don't you fence in your property? Don't you lock up your money? Well, be just as careful with what you say. Weigh every word and have a lock ready for your mouth. Someone may be waiting for you to slip, and if you are not careful, you will stumble over your own words and fall down in front of him. Chapter 29, Loans and Repayment. Be kind enough to lend to your neighbor when he needs help. You are keeping the Lord's commands if you help him. If he needs something, lend it to him. And when you are in debt, pay it back as soon as you can. If you meet your obligations, you will always be able to borrow what you need. Many people treat a loan as something they found and can keep, causing embarrassment to those who help them. Some people will speak politely, bow, and scrape until they get the loan they want. But when the time comes to pay it back, they'll put it off, say that it's inconvenient, and make a lot of worthless excuses. If the lender insists on being paid, he can count himself lucky to get back half. If he doesn't insist, the borrower has robbed him and made an unnecessary enemy. All the lender will get from him are curses, insults, and disrespect, but never any gratitude. Many people refuse to lend at all, not because they are stingy, but because they don't want to be cheated if they can avoid it. Generosity. Verse 8. Nevertheless, be understanding with those who are poor. Don't keep them waiting for your generosity. The Lord has commanded us to help the poor. Don't refuse them the help they need. It is better to lose your money by helping a relative or a friend than to lose it by letting it rust away under a rock somewhere. Use your wealth as the Most High has commanded. This would do you more good than keeping your money for yourself. Count among your treasures the fact that you give to the poor. It will save you from all kinds of trouble and will be a better defense against your enemies than the strongest shield or stoutest spear. Guaranteeing debts. Verse 14. A good man is willing to guarantee his neighbor's debts. Only someone who has lost all sense of decency will refuse to do so. If someone does this favor for you, don't forget it. He has risked his good name for you. There are some ungrateful sinners who abandon those who stand behind them, and they cause them loss of property. Guaranteeing loans has ruined many prosperous people and caused them unsettling storms of trouble. Influential people have lost their homes over it and have had to go wandering in foreign countries. Influential people have lost their homes over it and have had to go wandering in foreign countries. A sinner who hopes to make a profit by guaranteeing a loan is going to find himself involved in lawsuits. So help your neighbor as much as you can, but protect yourself against the dangers involved. Protect yourself against the dangers involved. Home and hospitality. Verse 21. The necessities of life are water, food, clothing, and a home where you can have privacy. It is better to be poor and live under your own crude roof than to enjoy lavish banquets in other people's homes. Be happy with what you have, even if it isn't very much, and don't listen to anyone who will insult your home and family. Going from house to house is a miserable way to live. Anywhere you go, you don't dare speak. You welcome the guests and pour the drinks. You welcome the guests and pour the drinks, and nobody thanks you. Instead, people humiliate you by saying things like, "Stranger, come here and set the table. I want to eat what you've got there. Give it here. Go away, stranger. Go away, stranger. I've got an important guest. My brother is coming to visit, and I need the room." Being denied hospitality or having a moneylender hound you, these are hard things for any sensitive person to endure. Footnotes, Sirach 29:7, not because stingy, but because some manuscripts have therefore because of this wickedness. Don't listen, family. Oh, verse 23. Don't listen, family, or don't listen to insults from your family. Some manuscripts do not have these words. One ancient translation has "don't get a reputation for living off other people." Hey, why would you want to? That's not a good reputation to have. Sirach chapter 30, Good News Translation, bringing up children. A father who loves his son will whip him often so that he can be proud of him later. If a son is disciplined, he will be of some use, and his father can boast of him to his friends. My sons have done very good at making me a proud father. Anyone who gives good guidance to his son can not only take pride in him among his friends, but he can make his enemies jealous. Yeah, I know that's true. While the father is alive, the sight of his son makes him happy. Yes, my children make me very, very happy. My sons. And when he dies, he has no regret. He is not really dead because his son is like him. He has left someone to take vengeance on his enemies and to return the favor he owes his friends. But anyone who spoils his son will have to bandage his wounds. His heart will stop every time he hears a shout. An untamed horse is going to be stubborn, and an undisciplined son is no different. If you pamper your child and play with him, he will be in disappointment and a source of grief. Laugh with him now, and one day you will have to cry over him, grinding your teeth in regret. Don't give him freedom while he is young, and don't overlook what he does wrong. Whip him while he is still a child, and make him respect your authority. If you don't, he will be stubborn and disobedient and cause you nothing but sorrow. So discipline your son and give him work to do, or else he will be an embarrassment to you. In all honesty, my youngest is 14, and through the situation with my stray wife and the relationship that me and my youngest son have, I spoke about this before, is not like the relationship I have with my oldest two sons. He didn't get a lot of discipline from me in the time that I was away. The time while I was away, he didn't get the discipline, so he didn't really get that correction. I left when he was around two 2-ish. Even though I disciplined him a little bit, I knew he was going to be a harder one to break. So he didn't really get all that firmness that he needed, and he's spoiled now. The rod has been spared on him on from his mom, and when I came home and not fighting, wanting to fight with her, and her allowing her to step in between that discipline, and I'm paying for the effects of that now, you know. But what I had to do, because he had gotten really out of control with his mouth and his lack of respect. But when he turned around, I think it was 12. And he just kept running his mouth like he has a very reckless mouth, very intelligent. But he didn't have respect. And he didn't have respect for me, and he didn't understand that power dynamic, and like he should. So when he was around 12, and he running his mouth, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna beat you. I'm from Philly, so I always love boxing and sparring in the streets and all of these things. So I always kept a pair of gloves with me, always. So my sons had bought me gloves for my birthday. It's something I wanted. So I'm like, all right, just give me some gloves, because I didn't have any. So my youngest son was here one time, and he running his mouth. And I'm saying, yo, we going outside, put these gloves on. And I showed him the difference between him being the son and me being the father. Between him being a child, being a boy, and me being a man. And all his pleas are stops and don't hit me and I don't want to fight and all of this and all of that. I don't care. And I lit him up. Even to the point where I made him angry, to where he had to fight back. And that was the first time he actually got a hit on me. And I was proud that he actually got to that breaking point to fight back. And he actually landed a hit finally. After years and years and years, he finally got a chance to land a hit. But he learned respect, because he don't never want to put them gloves on again. And I just was tapping him. But I was showing him with your mouth, you can't have a reckless mouth and you can't fight. And you don't want to fight. And even if you don't want to fight, if you piss somebody off just because you don't want to fight and they ready to fight, you can't stop. You can't crouch up and say, yeah, I don't want to fight. If they hitting you, think they just want to stop? So I lit him up. He gained respect that day. I didn't have to pull out a belt. You want to act like a man? Let me show you the difference. Let me show you. You think you can beat me? You think you can take me? Let me show you. And I'm tapping you. Ain't want no more of that. So after that, our relationship did improve. Did his mouth gradually get in control? Yeah. His mouth gradually did, because whenever he would like, yo, you want to put these gloves on? Nah. Well, you better act like you know. Health. Verse 14. It is better to be poor, but strong and healthy, than to be rich, but in poor health. A sound, healthy body a sound, healthy body and a cheerful attitude are more valuable than gold and jewels. Nothing can make you richer or give you greater happiness than those two things. It would be better to be dead, asleep forever, than to live in the misery of chronic illness. The finest food means nothing if you are too sick to eat it. It might as well be offered to an idol. But there is no point in offering food to an idol. It can't eat it or smell it. It is just the same with someone whom the Lord has afflicted. He looks at his food and sighs, like a castrated man hugging a young woman. The finest food mean nothing if you're too sick to eat it. Cheerfulness and sadness. Verse 21. Don't deliberately torture yourself. Don't deliberately torture yourself by giving into depression. Can't stay there. Happiness makes for a long life and makes it worth living. Enjoy yourself and be happy. Don't worry all the time. Worry never did anything good. Worry never did anybody any good, and it has destroyed many people. I repeat, worry never did anybody any good, and it has destroyed many people. Your own thoughts destroy you. It will make you old before your time. Jealousy and anger will shorten your life. A cheerful person with a good attitude will have a good appetite and enjoy his food. A cheerful person with a good attitude will have a good appetite and enjoy his food. Jealousy and anger will shorten your life. A cheerful person with a good attitude will have a good appetite and enjoy his food. I think that might be a word of the day pretty soon. Footnotes. Sirach 30, verse 7. Will have wounds or is going to be hurt. Verse 7. Which one was that? But anyone who spoils his son will have to banish his wounds. That's that one. Anyone who spoils his son is going to be hurt. Sirach 30, verse 15. Hebrew, a cheerful attitude. Greek, a strong body. 15. A sound, healthy body and a cheerful attitude are more valuable than gold and jewels. A strong body. Sirach 30. Hebrew. Sirach 30, 18, verse 18. Hebrew, offered to an idol. Greek, placed on a grave. Yeah, offering to idols is like placing on a grave. Ain't nothing there. Ain't nothing there. He can't hear you. They can't see you. Can't smell you. Can't touch you. But one of the jewel in here that I read, a cheerful attitude. Verse 15, where it says, a sound, healthy body and a cheerful attitude are more valuable than gold and jewels. When they say you shape your life, your thoughts shape your life, that's real. You want to change things, change your thoughts. You want to change things for real, change your heart. Change your heart, you can change your mind. Change your mind, you can change your reality. So that was Sirach 21 through 30. Chapters 21 through 30. Sirach, Good News Translation, part of the Apocrypha. I know it was a lot in there for me. I'm sure I'll be pondering it all day. Different verses will continue to come to my attention. The mirror is always present. It's always in my face, looking at me. growing, breaking, healing, recreating, letting go, filling up, emptying, filling up, emptying again, filling up. Don't give up on yourself. Forgive yourself. And through my journeys and talking to different people, when it comes to people who have suffered the shame or are living in guilt, the hardest thing for them to do is forgive themselves. Yeah. Even if they believe that God loves them, they don't, or God forgives them, they don't forgive themselves. And this is what I would tell those people. Do you believe that God is who he say he is? He's almighty? Yes. Do you believe that God can forgive you? Yes. Do you believe that God has forgiven you? Yes. Do you believe that you are more powerful than God? No. Then why won't you forgive yourself if God has forgiven you? And that right there, they usually be like, wow, a light comes on. So if you believe that God forgive you and you believe he's powerful, but then you won't believe that you're able to forgive yourself, that you must forgive yourself if he's forgiving you and he says that you are forgiven, but you won't forgive yourself, then you're saying you're more powerful than he is. Then you're saying you don't believe him. It's how you put things in perspective, man. When you weigh everything against what the word of Yah says, who God is, when you weigh things against that, you can get clarity. You can get understanding. You can move forward. You have no choice but to move forward. You have no choice but to grow. Because God will destroy and wipe out everything that does not grow. If you become useless, he says, you have made yourself ready for the fire, to be cut down and thrown into the fire. You are useless. And you can't be useful if you're not loving yourself, if you don't forgive yourself, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not mindful of yourself, if you're not thinking good of yourself and for yourself, why would God bless you? There's a saying, those who have will have more, and those who don't have will lose even more. Will lose even what they obtain. They'll lose that too, because they see it as the not having anything. But if you have something, and you know you have something, and you're grateful for it, more will be added unto that, unto you. Forgive yourself. Move forward. That's what we can do. That's all we can do. Get naked with yourself. Accept your flaws, your shame, your guilt, your shortcomings. Accept that they are you, your darkness. Accept it. Stop fighting against it. Learn to manage it. It balances you. There are times when you will need to call on it to keep you strong, to keep you standing firm in your boundaries, your beliefs, to protect yourself. to guard your heart, to guard your mind, to guard your peace. Please remember, God is both love and wrath. Light. Right? Light. Before there was light, there was darkness. Out of darkness came the light. God is duality, twofold. Love and wrath. He says he loves and he hates. Don't believe me? What did he say about Esau and Jacob? Jacob, I love. Esau, I hate. Before he was even conceived. While they were in the womb. Before the womb, God said, I love Jacob and I hate Esau. And Jacob had the worst of character. He was a liar, a deceiver, a con man. But God knew his heart. Remember, motives, intentions. God knows who we are before we even come into existence. Your purpose has already been fulfilled for you. We are blinded by the system, the society, and the systems that they have in place to make you think that you have to walk these certain paths or whatever, roads to be whoever you want to be. But God is in control and you will be who he wants you to be, whether you like it or not. We make our plans and he laughs because it is his will that will be accomplished. I don't make plans anymore. I go with the flow. Whatever he's going to present to me, then that's what it is. I live less stress that way. I'm more at peace that way. I live for today. I keep trying to keep my thoughts as far away from tomorrow as possible. I live in the present. Enjoy right now. Yesterday is gone. I don't want to hold grudges from yesterday or think about what happened yesterday. I'm living right now. We can always work it out. That's how I feel. It can always be worked out. But two people in agreement. But if somebody comes to you in opposition to you, don't waste your time. We cannot change another person's mind, and you are not doing anything but making yourself. You're wasting time, and you're going to make yourself angry, and you're hurting yourself. You're deceiving yourself. If you think that you can change someone else's mind, they will be who they are. And the sooner you accept that, the better off you'll be. Not seeing people for who you want them to be, but for who they are will save you from a lot of pain and time and wasted energy. A lot of life lessons. A life lesson that you don't want to learn from experience because it's too painful. It hurts too much. It takes too much time to get over. Betrayal. When you put everything into someone and it falls apart. To wake up and know that the whole time you've been sleeping with the enemy. So people. Love God. Love yourself. Love those around you. That's the order. That's the divine order. And that's the only way. that it's possible. So I leave you with the question of the day, which will always be the question of the day. Where is the love, especially between the woman and the man? And what are you doing? What are you doing? Wow. Not are you, what are you willing to do, but what are you doing to fix it, to correct it, to reconnect, to establish it, to be love, to receive love, to give love, to receive it. Most people, oh, I want to, I love, I want to love, I want to give, I want to give, I want to give, and don't know how to receive. Not open to receive. And sabotage comes when it's time for them to receive and accept. I think we spoke about this yesterday when I told the story of the lesson that I learned of receiving and accepting what's being offered to me. You know? So used to giving and helping others. I wasn't blessed until I learned to humble myself to accept what someone else is trying to offer and give me. I have no problem now. I go to somebody with off. Would you like a plate? Sure. You want something to drink? Yep. Now I used to be like, no, thank you. But here, I got something. Why don't you take this? Here, I got something for you. But I'm not willing to receive what they have for me. So learn to receive. It's a virtue. And don't let nobody shame you for receiving. Now, I'm not talking about being a beggar. I'm talking about when people offer you. Humble yourself. Be a blessing in receiving. Peace, family. Shalom.